Being alone in the woods at night is as exciting as it is terrifying. There is the fear that some random assailant might appear. The fear that a wild animal might show up to eat you. And the fear that you might not be alone out there, that something might be lingering from another time, from another moment in history. The fear that the woods around you might be haunted. My name is Brienne, and I'm the host and creator of Among the Dirt and Trees, a show where we explore true crime cases that occur out in nature. In today's episode, we're going to discuss the ghosts that haunt the woods all around the world. Many believe that ghosts only stick around when something truly terrible happens. And these stories just might prove that theory right. Our first ghost is a woman by the name of Amy Robsart, a woman whose ghost is believed to haunt Witchwood Forest to this day. Amy Robsart, later known as Amy Dudley, was the wife of Robert Dudley, an earl in England. His first wife specifically, and many believe that he might have played a role in her death. Robert Dudley did a stint in the Tower of London, which was no joke, but he was later released. Eventually, it's said that Elizabeth I fell in love with him. Then suddenly, Amy was said to be sick. People theorized that Robert and Elizabeth would wed if Amy died. Within a couple of years, Amy mysteriously turned up dead with a broken neck and some notable physical damage to her head. Though some believe it was an accident, many think that Robert might have set it up. Stories claim that Robert encountered Amy's ghost in Witchwood Forest later on, where she told him that he would be joining her soon. He died shortly after the encounter from illness. It seems that England has no lack of haunted woods and stories to match. Frith Wood is another haunted location that has seen its share of violent deaths and subsequent ghost encounters. One particularly tragic story involved a woman who fell in love with a French prisoner during a war. When she was found out, the men in her family beat the man to death, ending his life violently and breaking the woman's heart. In her distress, she killed herself, but it is said that her ghost still haunts the woods, weeping at the sight of her fallen love. Our next story is a little closer to home. At least it is for me. In Denver, we have a place called Cheeseman Park. While it is now in the center of the city and isn't exactly considered woods today, it is a nice natural place that is within walking distance of delis and ice cream shops, which are at the center of all of my fondest memories with this park. Unfortunately, Cheeseman's trees are actually hiding some pretty dark secrets. Before Cheeseman was a park, it was a graveyard. When the decision to turn it into a park was handed down, the job was given to a man named E.P. McGovern. He was supposed to manage moving all of the bodies because no one wants their children to play at a local park with a bunch of corpses. The only problem was in the agreement that was made. The city was foolish enough to pay by the body, and this gave McGovern a pretty twisted idea. Rather than simply remove all of the bodies, he decided to cash in by hacking several of them up into pieces and shoving the new collections of bones into coffins made for children to make it look like there were more bodies than there actually were. Some say that the disturbed spirits of these ghosts haunt the area because of what happened to their bodies to this day. In Scotland, there is a location called the Dunatar Woods. While this title might not seem too scary all on its own, one of its more prominent features is called Gallow Hill. This was not some name given by locals because the area freaked them out. It was a very real place where criminals were executed. In fact, the area itself was known to be a burial site well before it was used for executions. Thousands of years' worth of bodies found their final resting places here, alongside many fearsome and twisted criminals. It is said that some of these vengeful spirits still linger in the area. Australia is well known for having a collection of creatures that can kill you if you aren't careful. But sometimes we are the biggest threats to ourselves. The Devil's Pool is a location that has a tragic story and some truly scary ones to follow. Rumors say that a young woman named Ulana was madly in love with a man, but she wasn't allowed to marry him. At this point in time, she had no control over these things. In her desperation, she flung herself from a cliff down to the rock-filled water below, desperate to not live a single day with a man that she didn't want to marry in place of the one that she loved. The stories say that her vengeful spirit haunts the area now, and she has been credited with tricking local men and travelers into watery deaths of their own. In Costa Rica, there are no lack of beautiful natural spaces. But some believe that there might be more to their local forests than trees and animals. Cerro de la Muerte, the Mountain of Death, is filled with stories describing the Nimbulos, local spirits that protect the forest and mountains. Some stories paint them as playful and mischievous, while others certainly have a darker tinge. It is believed that the deforestation is upsetting the Nimbulos, and some even believe that they might be at risk if we continue to destroy their natural territory. There are other stories about spirits that linger in the area, with locals saying that beings are drawn to the area's natural magic. Some even say that they will come after you if you venture too close and try and steal from their forest. There is definitely scary movie potential in that, if you ask me. Humanity is known for coming up with some pretty interesting belief systems, and not all of them are completely friendly. Ballybally Forest, located in Ireland, is believed to be haunted by Celtic druids. Now, in Dungeons & Dragons, druids are magical beings that are highly in tune with nature and animals. These are not those druids. These druids were hanging around in cults and were believed to carry out sacrifices in the forest. These sacrifices were said to include both humans and animals, and some believe that the spirits of these druids continue to haunt the area to this day. Rumors have swirled that groups of cloaked figures will show up at random to terrorize camping sites and follow travelers, likely with the goal of scooping them up for yet another sacrifice. So, if you are walking through this forest, or any forest, and see some people who are dressed like they're from another time, it might be a good idea to just get out of there. Some say that the druids are not the only beings that are haunting this forest. No matter where you go in the world, there are tales of murder and violence, hauntings and mayhem. Some believe that crimes can be so severe that the victims or the killers never truly leave. But personally, I really hope that isn't true. I prefer my forest to be free of ghosts outside of movies and books. But that's just me. So, if you would like to discuss haunted forests, violent deaths, or crimes that truly make the world a worse place, feel free to contact me on Twitter or Instagram using the tag @DatPod. Thanks, guys.